Okay, I think I am live. It says I'm offline. Oh, yeah, no, I'm back. Let me open this up. There we go. Oh, let me turn that down. Okay. So, let me go back to my book here. Go right here. Go to reading. Go to continue reading. The second part. Yeah, the physiology of a neuron. So we've upgraded. Now we kind of know the anatomy of a neuron. Now we need to know the physiology. So, neuro. So we know the anatomy. The anatomy is kind of like what I'm pretty sure I'm probably butchering this, but like everything there that's anatomy, like the parts of the body. Physiology is how it works, like what the processes are, like what do we got to do. So that's what we're learning in this part. So we gotta learn about. I already took notes on before this. I haven't made any note cards yet. I just wrote on my notebook a bunch, but let's see what we got over here. So the first thing I have to remember is we're learning about, I think, first resting membrane potential. And this is when, I think this part I was a little confused on. It gets a little easier later, but this part is when oh, that's an easy way to remember it. An unstimulated neuron, a resting unstimulated neuron. Okay. Stimulated neuron. Just a chill guy. Oh, and I need to also, let me label this resting RMP. Then I think it's also negative, the charge. So basically learning, all right. So this whole part here, I have to remember, it's the movement across the cell. So it's basically saying how like messages are transmitted throughout the neuron. Okay. So over here. Can I make some note cards? No, first I'll go over it. So another thing I have to remember this thing. So in the neuron, so this this one has a lot of pictures, but I think I can do it without it, since I don't have a webcam yet. So throughout the neuron, there are a lot of channels. There are two types of channels. There are the sodium channels, Na plus, with positive charges, and also potassium channels, which is the K label. I never took chemistry. It's gonna be a little extra hard for me, but it should be all right. Yeah, it's crazy. I never took chemistry at all. Like not in high school, not in college yet. No, what was it? So yeah, I wish I had Mr. Walter White from Breaking Bad to help me out with this. What was it? They have the two channels. So I have that. Action potential. Okay, this is where things to get a little actiony. So resting membrane potential is when the cell is unstimulated. Action potential is where things start to get a little crazy, a little wild. action potential is the rapid sequence of changes. I was gonna stream earlier, but since some things came up, couldn't do it. I went out to dinner, so I'll just stream now. Do a late night stream. Just to also keep me motivated, because streaming genuinely helps me like stay on task. I get a little distracted easy doing other stuff, so it's nice. I can stream and do it even if no one's here. I don't really care if anyone's watching or not, but just so I can stay focused. Changes in the voltage across a membrane. Okay, got that. Should I make note cards for this? Yeah, I probably should. First, I'm going to clarify something. I'm going to Google something real quick. Resting membrane potential. Let's see what the National Institute of Health has to say about this. What generates resting membrane potential is the potassium that leaks from the inside of the cell via outside. It generates a negative charge. Oh, so that's how the negative charge happened. I was so confused about that. Okay. Yeah, I was so confused because, like, sodium has the positive charge, and I was confused about that earlier, but now I actually clicked on the link, and it... Okay. So I knew there was, like, a negative, like, little kind of wall of negative charges, but potassium's positive, and potassium is a thing that's inside the cell. And so I was like, how does that work? So, okay, I see. So, potassium leaks into the cell, and what was it? Wait, let me see. Let me read this again. I think I almost got it. So what generates in the resting membrane potential is potassium, K+, that leaks from the inside of the cell to the outside, making positive channel that generates a negative charge. So that makes sense because positive is negative. Let me see a different one. This one, just so I'm pretty sure I got it, but I just need to confirm something. Oh, nice little graph right here. And I can barely see it. Let me press on it. I won't go to that one. Oh yeah, and the resting potential is about negative 70 millivolts, I think. Millivolts, so that's like 70 below what it is on the outside, I'm pretty sure. The amount of voltage. Negative 70 millivolts. I watched a few videos on this, but I want to keep reading, just like website articles, just keep reading and reading. I also like no way to ingrain it in my memory. Okay, the resting membrane potential is the potential of a cell while at rest. All neural activities start with the change in the membrane potential, which is localized when it is large enough. An action of potential is triggered in the membrane of the axon. The axon is a potential that electrical swing that involves nerve cells. A neuron that is not conducting electrical signals is arresting. Okay. So the potential of a cell while at rest. Okay. That's a little... Oh, nice. Okay. It's a stable voltage across the plasma membrane and unstimulated cell. Okay. Okay, let's write that down. First, I need to go to... I just went to the bathroom before stream, but I gotta go again because I drank like a lot. I drank like 3 whole cups of water when I was at dinner, so... What was it? I drank a lot of water. Should I use orange for this? No, I'll use white. I'll use my white note cards. And I'll use a purple pen just to make it a little different. Okay. Resting membrane potential. A unstimulated neuron, right? Or just any cell or muscle. Unstimulated nerve / muscle cell with a stable voltage. And I'm pretty sure an action potential is when that voltage starts to spike up. Starts to spike. Okay. Exerts an electrical force on negatively charged chloride. Okay, I don't think I need to know that. Chloride. Neuroscience for kids on the... Okay. Man, that's awesome. First one, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay. I think that's all I really need to know, but it's also negative, right? The light camera action potential. But where's resting potential? Oh, here it is. Resting membrane potential. A neuron is at rest when it's not sending an electrical signal. Okay. And during this time, inside a neuron is a negative relative to the outside. Doesn't mean it's negative. It's okay. So I'm pretty sure it's still technically positive, but it's negative relative to the outside. So all the concentrations are different ions. The concentrations are very different, and they attempt to balance out both sides. Because okay. Let's see if I remember this. I remember this. The sodium ions are like super concentrated, and the potassium ones are like very little, not as much. What do we call it? Concentrated, yeah. And yeah, okay, let me write that down. Stable voltage. Where's that face cam? It hasn't come in the mail yet. I lit that. You can bring that up with Amazon. You can talk to Amazon about that. It's not here yet. I think it comes tomorrow, actually. I think. If all goes well. If Amazon doesn't, hopefully it comes tomorrow. And hopefully someone's here to get it because I'll be at work. But tomorrow, and if not, that means no one was at the house and it'll become another day. I bought it, but it just hasn't been shipped yet. No, it has been shipped, but it hasn't arrived yet. But I did order one, though, and I'm excited for it. Because I'm pretty sure it's a good face cam. And there's no way I'm using my laptop one, because that one's real bad. It's like super wavy, as you saw in my recent video. During this time, the inside of the neuron is negative relative. Yeah, they will for sure. Because because I ordered because the other one was recorded on my my laptop, like built-in face cam, but this one I might actually have like a proper like like webcam, just like, and I gotta set it up and all that, which tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll do a study stream tomorrow because I have to set it up and all that. I gotta do other stuff, but maybe. Relative to. To the outside. So, okay, that's kind of easy to remember. The resting membrane potential is just kind of when the neurons is chill, not, what's it not doing? It has a stable voltage, and during this time, inside the neuron is negative relative to the outside. Okay. I like how you swap back and forth. Episode said he hates doing people video for those kind of videos. I'll try out a new style and see how it works. I'm testing it out for now. If I find out like it a different way, it's gonna be a different way. But I decided to just do that for a fun little, just to try it out. I like it. But maybe I'll change it along the way. But right now, and it'll get better and better. I'm just like I tried a new thing. I'm gonna keep trying a bunch of those kinds of videos, and we'll see. Because I think for like my eventual tier list videos, they're just gonna be face cam. It depends on the type of video and all that. But that one was just like a very early video, so I was not sure about like the format and all that. Okay, so we got the resting membrane potential. That's the chill one. Now we can move on to the action part. Did I write this down? Action potential. Let's see what the book says. It's a rapid sequence of changes in voltage across the membrane. Let's see what this says. Tells about what happened when an action potential occurs when the neuron sends information down the axon away from the cell body. Okay, and what else though? Okay, I get that part, but let me see what my book says about this. Please don't tell me a time. It didn't time out. Thank you. So the first step, it starts with the dendrite. Depolarization is when, I think I wrote this down somewhere. Hopefully I wrote this down. Yeah, when sodium goes into the cell, it changes to a less negative voltage. And then let's go down here. Oh, here we go. Okay. A local potential depolarizes for section. If the stimulus is strong enough, a signal will flow all the way to the action hill log where it may produce an action potential. What's this say? Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we got it. Let me write this down again. Action potential. A rapid voltage change in which a plasma membrane briefly reverses electrical polarity. Has a self-propagating effect which uses a traveling wave of excitation of muscles and nerves. Okay. Reverses electrical polarity. Okay, now depolarization. I don't know this. Let me write this down. Well, first let me write this down actually first. I'll write it down twice for muscle memory and all that. A rapid voltage change in which a plasma membrane briefly reverses electrical polarity. And what does this website say? Because I feel like this book is explaining in such like a advanced way. Action occurs when the neuron sends information down the axon. An explosion of electrical energy created by... Yeah, that's just easy to remember. It's just a big... And this website says explosion of of electrical activity. So big spike. So it's kind of like, hold on. So let me write this down. It's the big spike there. That's it. And then I think depolarization is like when it goes lower. Okay. All right. So we got action potential and resting membrane potential. Nice. Those cards will go right over here. And now we got depolarization. Okay, polarization means opposite, so I'm trying to think just like a wordplay. There's a lot of wordplay. What does this mean again? Where did I put this? Did I write this down in my notes? Usually I have a note card bunch prepared for this, but I said, I might as well just... I can do them live, so... Depolarization. I'm pretty sure this one... I wrote this down somewhere. Yeah, it's when the sodium comes into the cell to into the neuron when one of the gates. They're kind of gates. One of the gates to the neuron open up, and then the sodium goes in, and then that ink kind of throws off the balance. So it's like the cell's a lot more positive now, right? Let's see. A shift in electrical potential across the plasma membrane toward a value less negative. Yep. Okay, I'm right. It makes it more positive, less negative. Same thing. Okay. Then the resting cell potential associated with the excitation of the neural muscle. Okay. And let's see what this website says. The action potential is an explosion created by a depolarizing current. This means that in some event, a stimulus causing at the resting potential to move toward 0 milliamp volts from negative. Wait, so let me read that one more time. So the action potential is an explosion of electrical activity that is created by a depolarizing current. Okay, so nice. This means that some event, a stimulus, causes the resting potential to move toward 0 milligram voltage. Okay, that makes sense. Since before it was at negative 70, it moves toward 0. Okay. When the depolarization reaches about negative 55, the neuron will fire an action potential. Okay. Let's write that down. Okay. Oop, come on. And let me look this up actually too. I'm just on Google. Then I'll write it down in the chat. Or not in the chat, my stream. Alright, this is when a change occurs inside the cell that causes the distribution of electrical charges to alter, leaving the cell with a less negative charge than the outside. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That makes sense. Yeah. a shift in the electrical potential across a plasma membrane toward a less negative value, toward a value. Squeeze that in there. Made a mistake while writing. Then I'll just label this. I don't want to write the whole thing. RMP. Okay, so let me think about this in my head. So the resting potential. First, let me write this down. A shift in electrical potential across a plasma membrane. Yeah, I guess the E, it's okay. Toward a value less negative and the RMP. Okay, let me think about this just on my own. So yeah, that makes sense. So the neuron's there, just chilling. The gates also, so just like, let me think of the basic outline of the neuron. There's a lot of there's a negative energy, and kind of a negative charge, and I can think about it like that actually to make it easier for me. Well, there's a negative charge in this inside the neuron with I think some potassium in there, which is positive, but and then there's a lot of sodium on the outside, which is super concentrated and super positive. When those little gates open to the neuron, all the positive ions from the sodium flow into the cell, creating an action potential. And this also means there's a depolarization, because that means the inside of the cell is a lot less, or just less negative than it originally was, because of all the positive ions from the sodium. From the sodium ion. Yeah, from the sodium. That makes sense. Okay. Nice. Depolarization. Boom. And I have to go to the bathroom again. Wow. I went right before stream. I went earlier in the stream, and I have to go again now. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Depolarization, when the electrical charge, I don't know, I forgot the exact way. I get the concept, I just don't know how to properly describe it. But I'm going to just try to describe it just my way. when the electrical charge inside of a cell changes. This is it more. What specifically is it? To a less negative charge. Okay. So it's less negative. I also want to say positive, but I'm sure that's not the proper way to say it. Okay. Yeah, so when sodium comes into the cell, that is depolarization. However, what happens then is potassium, when sodium goes into the cell, potassium goes out of the cell. And this is when the potassium goes out. I think the potassium goes out because I think to balance it out, that is called repolarization. Hopefully they got that in the textbook here. When the battery has an unequal change of distribution, we say it's polarized. And electrical charges are measured in volts or fractions of a volt, millivolts. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. Channels, that's the word. It's not really gates. Channels. That's the word I was looking for how they go in and out. Okay. There's a slow, constant leakage of these membranes. Always trying to abolish of the RMP. How are the sodium? Let's see. It constantly injects 3 sodium and pumps in 2 potassium for each cycle. Okay. Hopefully, do I need to know that? I'll write it down just in case. So, pumps in. No, it ejects. It ejects 3 Na, which is sodium, and pumps in 2 potassium to keep it balanced. Okay. Since it ejects 3 positive charges for every 2 it brings in, the pump maintains the cell's negative internal charge. Oh, okay. So that's why it's negative. Okay. That is why it's negative, because 3 sodium goes out, 2 potassium go in, which make it negative. Okay. Alright. Accounts for 70% of the energy requirement of the nervous system. Dang. Wow. Potassium and sodium, or not those two, those are the materials I just said. Wow, this process accounts for 70% of our nervous system. That's crazy. We gotta be thankful to the nervous system for this. Nerve signaling is based on change of ion channels. The plasma membrane. Let's see. I don't need to know this. The ligand gate channel is a membrane that opens and closes in response to ligand binding to it. A voltage gated channel is one that opens and closes, respond to changes. Okay, so this is telling me like how the gates open and close. Okay, so there are receptors on it, which I'm sure. Okay. Okay, nice. Ligand gate channel. Wait. I'll skip that for now. So that shows it's pumping the, what's this? The sodium in, I think. Is that sodium? That looks like sodium. Okay, anyway, the action potential. Oh, here's a little stimulation for it. Alright, but I'm looking for repolarization. Is there repolarization? Does it show that here? There's no way. Does it? Where's repolarization? Local potential is any voltage that occurs. Okay. I got active potential. No, I guess it doesn't show it. But it's when the potassium is going out. I think just to rebalance it out, since there's such a big spike. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. So let me go through the 3 steps, I guess. So the animation action potential. Okay. The four steps to action potential or depolarization. I forgot. Potential. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay. So first, upon the stimulation, sodium enters a neuron and local potential spreads towards the cell's axon hillock. So the gist of it is the sodium enters the neuron. Okay. So 1. Do I have enough room for this? I think I need to move this to the side. Sodium, Na+. And I have to remember, these are highly concentrated, way more than potassium. So enters neuron. So a new challenger, pretty much. New challenger enters. Then the sodium's at the party now. Sodium's at the neuron party. Okay, and the local potential reaches the axon hillock, a region with high density voltages, gated channels for sodium and potassium. If the local potential attains a minimum voltage called a threshold, it opens up the channel in the axon hillock and produces an action potential. Okay, so if the local potential attains a minimum voltage called threshold, which makes sense, opens channel in the axon hillock and produces an action potential. Okay, so I'll just say this. Let's assume it does. I won't get to do that last part. Or the first part. Channel opens in axon hillock. And I feel like I should increase the size of this a bit, just so there's more red, so I can use a bit more space. There we go, that makes it a little bit better. And because when my white text is on the white part of the screen, kind of makes it look a little weird. And what was the last part again? I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, and produces action potential. And the action potential is that it's the big spike, and that is when the sodium just kind of bum rushes into the neuron and says like, hey, I'm making a positive charge whether you like it or not. Well, technically not that, but yeah, kind of. Not technically not, but because it was invited through the gate, but you know, there's an action potential. And what's step 3? Step 3 is sodium ions rush into the cell and neutralize the negative charges near the inside of the cell membrane, causing the membrane voltage to shoot rapidly upward. As the voltage passes 0 millivolts, the sodium channels start to close. By the time they do so, the voltage has risen. Okay, so I don't think I need to know that last part, but the first part's important. The sodium ions will rush into the cell and neutralize the negative charges inside the membrane, causing the voltage to shoot upwards. Like, that's what causes the spike. Okay, nice. Sodium ions rush in and negate negative. That's kind of a little redundant to say. What does they do? Neutralize negative charges. Well, that's actually a little redundant too. I'll just say neutralize. Neutralize negative charges causing voltage. I might need to change this. Yeah, I might. Causing voltage to increase. Four. Okay, let me take the first step. So first step, sodium comes in and doesn't. I feel like that's the second step, but the first step is the gates or the channels let the sodium into the cell. That's the first step, right? Yeah. The sodium enters the neuron. Okay, the second channel, first the sodium enters the neuron. Then after that, the channels open and the action hillock and produce action potential. And so when this happens, the sodium rushes in and neutralizes negative charges, and then causing the voltage to increase. Okay, what's the last step here? Final step, the finale. The voltage-gated potassium channels in the hillock open. So this is all the sodium channel. Now the potassium channels in the hillock also open, but more slowly. Potassium ions rapidly leave the cell when the gates open. The outflow of potassium makes the interior of the cell turn negative again. Oh, okay, so kind of like it reverses. So okay, nice. It kind of just fixes itself, kind of. So it's negative, it's positive. Or no, it's a negative, less negative, then negative again. Okay. Nice. And slightly more potassium leaves the cell than necessary to reach the resting membrane potential, which produces slightly negative overshoot called hyperpolarization. All right, so hyperpolarization when it's like gets extra negative, but it doesn't look like it's too important because hyperpolarization isn't even highlighted or doesn't, like, when I click on it, it doesn't give the definition. So okay, I think I can remember that though. So I can say, but I want to make sure I spell this right. I'm pretty sure I spelled potassium pota. Did I get that right? Oh, I got it right. Nice. Channels. There you go. Yeah, potassium channels open up, causing open, and I have to remember this. All right, so the sodium channels cause the sodium to go in. The potassium channels have potassium go out. In and out, in and out, in and out. Open and let me actually label this. Also, potassium is K positive. I have to remember, like, if I see that means potassium K, because a lot of these like sentences like just have they don't even mention potassium. It just says K plus, and I just have to ingrain it in my memory a bit more. And K plus potassium ions rapidly leave. And what this does is causes the cell to return back to its original negative charge, right? Yeah, and it's not. I'm finally starting to like click now. It's like, yeah, and this is the crazy part is like all my streams was for all the studying I've done. Also, I've done a bit of studying off screen, and I'm only like I think 2/3 of the way done studying everything for one of the books. This is only for all my streams have been for one book, and I think I'm about 2/3 of the way in. And so I got another third of this book, and then I think then after that I'll be ready to take like one of my reading tests. But then also I got a whole lab book to do. I got to memorize bunch of like structures in like I think what was it? It's one of the vertebrae bones and all like the nerves and stuff. This is just like pure information. I have to do some memorization for information. It's like, yeah. It's a lot. It's finally starting to like click a little now. The streams, it is definitely helped me. The streams, just like, it was hurting my brain too a lot earlier, but I'm finally like getting into the groove of it. Like finally trying to like get it. It was hurting my brain for the first 4 weeks. But week five, it only took 5 weeks for it to like all come together. I still need to watch Emperor's New Groove. I still need to watch that movie, but that's what. Where'd you get the music for your video? That's a good. Yeah, I know it's a good movie. I know. I really want to watch it, but I will eventually. Where'd you get the music for? Where did I get it? It was one of my. I remember like looking for like 2 songs. I think it's either I think it's a Shovel Knight song remix. So I was like, Shovel Knight has good music. Let me see if I can find a good remix. And I think it's that one, or it could be just some. I'm pretty sure it's a Shovel Knight song remix. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll use that. It just took me a while. I almost didn't put music in it because I couldn't find any music that fits. So I was like, oh, that actually sounds good. I'll use that. And I was between like 2 choices. Okay. Did I finish writing it down? To rapidly leave. And what was the last thing? Leave the cell. And then there's one more part I know. The shift of the voltage into negative numbers. The shift of the voltage back into negative. I don't like the way that's worded, so I'm just going to word it my way. The voltage, I like it this way. The cell, the voltage changes back. I'm taking notes. I believe the cell. What is it? Back into negative numbers. Okay. I think I know the gist of it, but so action potential, so potassium cells, what was it? Go in the neuron. Potassium cells go into the no, not potassium, sodium cells, which are highly concentrated, highly positive. Once the gate opens and lets the sodium cells inside, what else? This is called action potential. I'm trying to remember everything. And then happens next? The sodium cells, they neutralize all the negative charges inside the neuron, because there are more negative inside the cells are more negative than positive, so it neutralizes all of that. Then that's when action potential happens, where like the voltage spikes up from negative to from negative to a lot less negative. And then the potassium gates open up, which causes a bunch of potassium, I think they're positive charge cells, to rush out, and then it restabilizes kind of the cell. And I'm closing my eyes right now, so I just remember all of it. Then that's called repolarization, where it just kind of like goes back to normal. This for our freshman course. I know this is a general education course, which I'm shocked about. This is like crazy. And this is like, and the crazy thing about this is like, in terms like, I'm talking like broadly in terms like the medical field, it's extremely basic. It's crazy. Medical school sounds rough. This is like because I've looked at some like other like medical books and stuff, just like look, and it's like the amount of this is like nothing compared to like if like someone was going into medicine and like other biology and stuff. It's crazy. Like I thought like memorizing what was it like little parts of the body were hard. They gotta memorize like every tiny nook and cranny of the body. It's insane. And so I'm definitely not going into the medical field with that amount of memorization. I'll just stick with learning the basics and hopefully getting a passing grade, and then I'm off to doing different things. Because this is a general education class, and because I'm not my biology isn't my major, but I have to take one more science to get through all my science parts. And the science I took before was like some environmental science, and that was really easy. And this is just a complete 180. This is like, it's course. So yeah, it's just general education. And I chose like, hey, anatomy or astrology, and I'm like, I'm more interested in anatomy. Let me do that. And boy, I could have dropped down and chose like astronomy, but this is just genuinely like more interesting stuff. I think what would just be useful to know, and like I'd rather know like have a harder class than like have a harder class and learn something I'm more interested about than an easier class than something I'm not interested about. So you picked. I think astronomy. Yeah, but I'm not too interested in astronomy though. Astronomy? Astrology? No, astrology, I think. I don't know. It's just generally interesting, but it's a lot more than I originally thought it was going to be. But I think now I finally got into my groove and all that. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, 4 steps. Oh, I got to get a big note card for this one. I like the Pokeball background with like Slowpoke. Oh yeah, I thought like when I moved it over, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I thought I was like, yeah, nice little touch. I found I was like looking for backgrounds, like yeah, I'll add this guy. And I like the Gen 2 slow. I almost didn't choose that. I tried to find like the Gen 3 sprite with like a sprite GIF I liked, but I settled on that one. That one was pretty cool. Is this action potential part? Let me see. What should I label this note card? In action, but yep, this is the action potential process. Process. Okay, so the resting membrane potential is just when the cell's chilling, just kind of like it's a normal neutral state, and it's a normal negative. And then the active potential is when things start to heat up and go crazy. So step 1 is, I'll write this down how I wrote it down here. Is there something else? Okay, no, there's something else. Okay. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Okay. So 1. The sodium Na+ ions enter the neuron. Step 2. The sodium, actually I'll put Na instead. Na+ channels open, just to be a little bit more specific. Open in Axon Hillock. This is nice. It's actually a nice little change of pace from my previous study sessions. I'm going to have to bed while as near as I fall asleep. Alright, sounds good, EJ. I know it's a lot later for you, so have a good night. So Na+ channels open up in the Axon Hillock. Or sodium channels. And then, what happens next? And just produces action potential. Okay. Step 3. The sodium ions rush in. I was saying that it's nice to finally learn like a process instead of saying like brute memorization. Like I was just memorizing, what does this thing do? 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 It's like, okay, it was getting to a point, but now I'm actually memorizing a process, which is the difference between anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is like, hey, this is this part of the body. Physiology physiology is like the processes of which things happen. So it's nice to have like learn something that's not just like memorizing parts and actually memorizing a process. So there's a little nice change of pace. Russian and neutralize. Negative charges causing the voltage to increase. Alright, and the last step. This is when the potassium, the potassium open and the potassium ions rapidly leave the cell. Rapidly leave the cell, and then the voltage changes back into negative numbers. Okay, so the steps are, my first depolarization is when the action potential happens. It's when the charge rapidly increases. So it goes from like negative charge to not so negative at all. And then the action potential is when the shift in electrical potential across the plasma membrane toward a less negative value. And then the steps are, so basically sodium is a lot more positive and a lot more concentrated and positive. And then once the gate opens, or the channel opens, the sodium rushes in, neutralizes the negative ions, and which causes action potential, causes depolarization. Where's my depolarization card? I don't think I have I didn't make a card for that, I don't think. I think I did. Yeah. A shift in electrical under the membrane. Okay, yeah. So that causes depolarization. And then, after that, the third step is that was the third step. Okay, and the fourth step was the potassium gates open up, and potassium rushes out of the cell, which causes repolarization, I think. Yeah, repolarization. And then the neuron then it shifts back to its original resting membrane potential state, I think. It just shifts back, yeah. And then what else? Hypopotential, I think is the word. No, hypolarization is when the cell gets a little too negative. Okay. Nice. Oh wow, I actually got through that section kind of fast. Now, how do I conduct a nerve signal to its destination? Okay, let's take a little picture first. Actually, never mind, I'll read the thing. We have seen how nerve signals is initiated now we examine how it travels to its final destination. Okay, we've seen how it happens. Now we have to see how it goes to its final destination, or how it starts. Okay. However, it triggers another action potential in the membrane immediately ahead of it. That triggers that action potential another. So it triggers another action potential in the membrane immediately ahead of it, then another one, then and so forth. Okay. And so it's a chain of action potential one after another along the length of the nerve fiber. Okay. I'll write that down. After... Oh, first let me write this. Conducting a nerve signal to its destination after action potential happens, another one immediately happens, and so on. Okay, so action potential, okay, it keeps on happening, then what, Thus we get a chain, so chain of action potential. I'll write that, chain of action. That's a lot of action potentials right there. Okay. Along the length of the nerve fiber. Okay. Along the length of the nerve fiber. This chain constitutes a nerve signal. Okay, so this chain is a nerve. I'll say everyone know what a nerve signal is. That's what it is. That whole process is a nerve, or that whole process repeated a bunch of times is a nerve signal. There we go. When that domino falls, pushes over the second, and so forth, and the chain reaction produces a wave of energy traveling to the end of the line. Okay. Similarly, an action potential is a local event, but it triggers the next one. Like a row of falling dominoes, we get a wave of energy traveling from one end of axon to the other. The traveling wave is a nerve signal. Action potentials do not travel, nerve signals do. Okay. Bruce traveling. No one domino moves to the other end of a line. The falling domino is a local event. Similarly, action potential is a local event, but it triggers a next one. Okay, so it's like domino. So an action potential doesn't cause, or action potentials do not cause travel. Nerve signals do. I see what they're saying. Okay. Action potentials in progress. Refractory membrane. Excited membrane. Okay. I'll write that down too, I guess. Action potentials do not wait, the traveling wave. We get a wave of energy traveling from one next on to the other. I'm gonna write that down first. Let me write two things down. Chain reaction produces a wave traveling to the the line that, I guess, let's write this again. Wave is a nerve signal line from one axon to the next. And then this is the last thing I'll write for this section. Action potentials do not travel. Nerve signals do. Okay. Cool. And the signal travels along the axon. Okay. Action potentials occurs in areas of color red. Okay. Okay. How much do I have here next? So I have a decent amount still. Okay. First up is for a short time after an action potential occurs, the path of the membrane cannot be stimulated to produce another. Is said to be in a refractory period. A period after a nerve or muscle has respond to a stimulus, which cannot be re-excited by a threshold stimulus. Oh, this has two definitions. Wow, the second definition is very different than the first one. Wow, that is crazy. I didn't even knew that term in general. Oh my gosh. That's for another subject entirely. Wow. Refractory period. Okay. A short time, basically. Okay, after the cell's been stimulated and the neuron, it just means it cannot be stimulated again for a bit. Okay. That's definitely gonna, that's a cool little connection to make, actually, to make it so, because I think when you memorize stuff like brain, it's better to form connections to stuff, and that, I can just make a connection between those two definitions. Okay. Refractory, that's definitely something, that definitely gets a note card, for sure. Should I do an orange one? If you like more like not a pink one, I'll do... I have a yellow one? Maybe a yellow one. No, not a green one. No, let's do a white one, actually. Yeah, I'll do a white one, but I'll use a different pen color this time. Maybe I'll use one of my different... I'll use this pen. I'll use my magenta pen. I haven't used this pen in a bit. Okay. Well, first I'll write in my normal notebook, refractory period. A period after a nerve/muscle has responded to a stimulus in which it cannot be re-excited by a threshold stimulus. Okay. Refractory period. Okay. Gotta go to the bathroom again. Give me 1 moment. Okay. Wait, is my music still on? Okay, it is. Just a new one just started. Okay. Now, what was the refractory period? Is a period in time in which... Oh, wait. Did I write that down? I haven't wrote it down yet. I need to write down my note card, too. And my hands are still... Okay, let me wipe that off. A period after a nerve/muscle has responded to a stimulus in which I'll go for another 40 probably minutes in which now I'm cruising through this one. It took me a while to get through the other one, but this one I'm cruising through. It cannot be excited by a threshold. So threshold stimulus is what causes an action potential. Okay. Stimulus. I'll write a little side note. Side note. Threshold. I'm gonna look that up. Let me look that up. What causes an actual action potential? What causes an action potential? I gotta look at my book for this one. Threshold. Yep, okay. Yeah, threshold stimulus. Okay, yeah, I'm right. threshold stimulus causes action potential. Therefore, the refractory membrane trails behind the nerve signal. This prevents nerve signal from backing up and returning to the neurosoma. Things are different in a myelin fiber. There are few voltage-gated channels. The myelin-covered internodes do not enough to generate an action potential. No action potential could occur in the internodes anyway, since myelin insulates the nerve fiber from surrounding extracellular fluid, and no significant amount of Na+, which is sodium, can get to the nerve fiber. At each node of however, the node fiber is exposed to the CSF, the extracellular fluid. Here is where we can find the greatest concentration of ion channels. This is the only place in myelated fiber that can generate action potentials. Okay, I think I'll just go. Actually, let's see right here. So there's this here. So sodium inflow at node generates action potential. Okay, so that's generates action potential. Positive charge flows rapidly along axon, depolarizes membrane. Signal grows weaker with distance. Depolarization of cell membrane at the next node of open sodium channels, triggering a new action potential. Okay. So it's basically showing us action potential in progress, refractory membrane, excitable membrane. Okay. Okay, that's a nice little graph they showed me. So what's excitable membrane? What's that mean? That means like it's ready to to be like ready to get hit by an action potential. That would be my guess. Have a resting potential. Okay. They just have different voltages, it seems. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Let's do a little stretch. We go into a lot of good info. I'm gonna take a break and check Twitter, which might be a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it right now anyway. Anything new? Oh, I guess some writer strike stuff is happening again today. We'll update to that. They might. It said there was going to be a breakthrough and the contract was going to be accepted, the new one, the fair one. But then it looks like it might break through. Uh-oh. Let me get a little closer to my mic. Okay. Anything new on YouTube? Nope. Wait. What's that? I'll watch that later. Okay. Alright. Next up. Transmitting a nerve signal to the neck cell. Okay, what do we got here? I like using this pen, so I'll keep using it. I have so many different pens, which is nice, so I can like change up the color and stuff. Transmit. All right, I'll title this on the top of the page. Transmitting a nerve signal to the next cell. All good things must come to an end, and so with the wave of action potentials, they reach the end of an axon. No, it's the end where there's a narrow gap between it and the next cell. How does this neuron communicate with the cell across the gap? In the earlier 20th century, many biologists refused to believe such gap existed. But this is where the chemical part of the nervous communication comes in. The point where two cells meet is called a synapse. A junction at the end of an axon where it stimulates another cell. A gap junction between the two cardiac or smooth muscles in which one electronically stimulates the other, called an electrical synapse. So axon of neuron, okay. Axon terminal. Synaptic vesicles containing neurotransmitter, synaptic cleft, and neurotransmitter receptor, neurotransmitter release. Okay. So this is the axon. But where the chemical part comes in, oh wait. They thought a space would stop the electrical signal, cut an electrical wire, but this is where the chemical part of the nervous system comes in. The point where two cell meets is called a synapse. Let me write that down. The point where two cells meet is called a synapse. Disturbed nerve signal. Alright, let's see what the synapse looks like in this picture. Any synapse? The synapse, is nerve which binds the receptors. Okay. Okay, oh, so this is like two cells are meeting up right here. Okay. So two neurons are meeting up. It's crazy. So the branches attached to another neuron, and then, okay. The nerve signal arrives at the synapse by way of the presynaptic neuron, pertaining a neuron that conducts a signal to a synapse. Okay. The nerve signal arrives at the synapse by way of the presynaptic neuron. And the presynaptic neuron what was this again? Oh yeah. A neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. Okay. Nice. And the gap between these two is called the synaptic cleft. Okay, this was another thing similar to, like, I think in the muscle section we also had that too. I forgot the synaptic cleft. It's kind of like the gap. It's the gap between like two things. Synaptic cleft. Okay. Wow. So back then they didn't believe a synaptic cleft existed back then. That's crazy. I wonder if there's anything now. It's like that's kind of like we don't believe happened that like 100 years from now they'll figure out. I wonder how far technology will advance. That's a crazy thought, actually. Like, when I'm like real old, like how far will technology go? Where's the limit? Is there a limit and all that? The gap between the two is called a synaptic cleft. Okay, write that down. Synaptic cleft. Narrow space between the axon terminal and the adjacent cell. That's all for that. Should I write 2 note cards for this? I feel like I wrote already a card for synapse. Synapse, the place in which 2 cells meet. The place in which 2 cells meet. The place in which 2 cells. I'm gonna write that down a bunch actually. I need to I always forget what a synapse is. I'm gonna use I'll use this old note card actually. I don't need this one's an old one. I actually can't use that. Is there any old note cards? Oh wait, this one might be an old one. Yeah, I'm not using this one. Okay. Synapse. Place which 2 cells meet. Let me just double Google that so I don't learn the wrong thing. I mean, I know I just read it, but just a precaution. Synapse function. Essential transmit nerve impulses to another. Okay. Simplified. The point of contact between 2 neurons where information is passed on to the next. Okay. So it's for neurons, but oh, really? They connect neurons and help transmit info to another. Okay. Where the 2 cells meet. It's not just cells in general. Okay. That thing. I think you looked that up. It's not just for neurons. The place in which the 2 cells meet. Okay. I could do place in which the 2 neurons meet. Okay. All right. Synapse. Place where 2 neurons meet. Synapse. Place where 2 neurons meet to transmit info. But I don't have enough space to write that down, so I won't. I could get a bigger piece of paper, but this just simplifies it, which is a little nice. Where 2 neurons meet. Synapse. Place where 2 neurons meet. Synapse. Place where 2 neurons meet. synapse, place where two neurons meet. Two more times. Two more. Synapse, place where two neurons meet. Place where two neurons meet. Oh, I haven't been updating the board at all. Yeah, I'm still on action potential. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Well, I might as well refresh it. Okay. Action potential is when first step, sodium comes into the neuron. Next step, the sodium gate opens up, and then the sodium highly concentrated, which are highly concentrated positive charges, rush in to the cell when the cell has a bunch of negative charges in it, and the cell is in its I think before this happened in resting membrane potential, and then once the sodium neutralizes the positive ions, and when this happens, action potential happens. So the voltage, or not the voltage, the charge increases dramatically, which causes the spike. And then when this happens, the potassium channels open. They open slowly, and then the potassium rapidly rushes out, causing depolarization, I think. No, depolarization is when it rapidly changes. Depolarization, yeah, when it shifts a lot less. Okay, then repolarization is when the potassium leaves and it shifts back to its normal state. And when it shifts back to its normal state, it's in its refractory period, which it means it cannot be re-excited again. Okay. Nice little update. Synapse, place where two place where two neurons meet. There we go. Boom. What is next? Presynaptic nerve. A nerve that connects signals to the synapse. The gap between them is called synaptic cleft. Okay. I'll hold off on learning that for now. Synaptic cleft, I'll definitely remember that's the gap. And from the last part, and then the presynaptic neuron. Yeah, I'll write that down here. Alright, so oh, whoops. I don't think I spelled that right. A neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. Okay. I'll write that card down. I'll toss this one. And then let's write this down. Synaptic. Actually, I'll write two note cards. Synaptic nerve. Neuron. Neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. Then, I'll write a problem, might as well. Okay. Synapse. Oh, I wrote that backwards. Place where two neurons meet to transfer information. Then I got that one. And then the last one is synaptic cleft. Let me make sure I have this right. Narrow space between. Oh, this is a different kind of cleft. Okay. Synaptic cleft. Narrow space between the axon terminal and the adjacent cell, and this is a little apart, across which a neurotransmitter diffuses. What does diffuse mean? It's like kind of break diffuses definition.
Here's what I found.
Oh, whoops. Shouldn't have used Siri for that. I'll just look it up. Diffusion definition. Kind of like, that sounds like break apart. Diffusion, like break. Okay. Disperse something more widely. Okay. Across which a neurotransmitter diffuses. Okay. Nice. Alright. We're almost at the end here. I don't think I need to take notes on this part, but I'll just read over it still. And then the next part, hopefully the next part isn't that bad. Almost done. Alright. The axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron contains numerous spheroids. Numerous spheroid organelle and an axon terminal containing a neurotransmitter. Let's see. Synaptic vesicle loaded with chemicals called neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are a chemical released at the distal end of an axon that stimulates an adjacent cell. For example, okay. And the arrival of the nerve signal at the end of the presynaptic fiber triggers several synaptic vesicles to undergo exocytosis, releasing their neurotransmitters to the synaptic cleft. Neurotransmitter molecules diffuse across the cleft behind to receptors on the membrane of the postsynaptic neuron. So so a neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. I don't know how to say that. The previous chapter. Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that word in the muscle chapter. Okay. I'm just not reading. Dang, acetylcholine is only one of the hundreds of the neurotransmitters. They play key role. Okay, and then it's only like really emphasizing one, and there are hundreds of these things. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Time for some notes. So I'll switch back to purple for this one. The axon terminal of what's presynaptic neuron? That's the space. Synaptic clefts is the gap between the axon terminal and other cell or neurotransmitter. Presynaptic neuron. Synapse is the place where two neurons meet up. Yep. And exchange their information. Presynaptic neuron. A neuron that conducts signals to the synapse. I feel like I need to write that down a bunch. Synaptic neuron. Presynaptic neuron. I'll write that down in this color. Some Halloween colors. I have an orange note card and a black pen. Did I write that down on here? Presynaptic neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. A presynaptic neuron? Yep. Synaptic neuron. A signal? No, it's a type of neuron that conducts signals. To a synapse. Okay, one more time. Presynaptic neuron is a neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. A presynaptic, right? Presynaptic neuron. I'm closing my eyes right now, so I try to remember. Presynaptic neuron is a type of neuron that conducts signals to the synapse. To a synapse, yep. A presynaptic neuron is a neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. I get a little tired, which is good. Yesterday I didn't fall asleep till 3 a.m. again. I woke up at 11, which is good. I'm getting a little tired. I'm also going to exercise to help it a bit, so I can get back to my sleep schedule has altered a little bit. Hopefully I can get back to normal. Alright, if there's one more time, then I'll move on, because what was it? Just because I'll start on the next chapter, then I'll probably do the last one tomorrow. And then it's on to, then yeah, I'm done with the chapters, then I do some of my homework off screen for it, and then I really get into, like, I get started to memorize stuff. I think the next one is, like, spinal, like, a lot more memorization, like memorizing parts and stuff. Alright, presynaptic neuron. Neuron that conducts signals to a synapse. Alright, let me write that one more time, but I'm not looking this time. A synaptic neuron is a neuron that conducts signals to a synapse, and a synapse is a place where two neurons meet up to exchange information. Boom! There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm learning. It's nice. 1 hour and 40 minutes. Nice. And a neurotransmitter. First, let me switch my pens. Axon terminal of presynaptic Neuron contains numerous spheroidal. I'm gonna look up that word. Spheroidal synaptic vesicles. That's the word they use. I go to my book again. It's spelled S-P-H-E-R. No, E-R. Oh my gosh, I get tired. No, I had it right. O and then doll. Ellipsoid. It's like kind of like an okay. That's kind of like what I kind of generally knew, but resembling a sphere. But that's such a weird way to say it. At least for me, I'm sure there's a meaning behind it. This seems kind of strange to me. What's a synaptic vessel? Synaptic vessel. Vestal. I'll change markers for this one. A synaptic vesicle loaded with chemicals called neurotransmitters. Oh, wait, what's the synaptic vesicle though? A spheroid. Okay, that's how you say it. I was really lost in the sauce earlier. Organelle in axon terminal. I'm not going to make any note cards because I'm running a little short on time because I want to exercise. Containing neurotransmitter and neurotransmitter. They're the stuff inside the synaptic vesicles, which are the sphery guys, and this neurotransmitter. Then neurotransmitter. A chemical. Little crazy to think about how this is just a one process in your body. Tons and tons of processes are happening in your body at the same time. Damn, that's kind of crazy that all these processes are happening in the body. Chemical released at distal end of axon that stimulates adjacent cell. And an example of this is acetylcholine. I don't know how to say that, but I recognize the word, so I think I'll remember it. Okay, and then okay, this part. Okay. I'm gonna just read this part on my own. Mm-hmm. Almost done. Okay. Let me see if I can answer one of these questions. Actually, I'll do it later. Right now I'm a little tired, but yeah, let's see what the next part's about. I think the next part's. Let me go back to the reading. Spinal cord, spinal nerves, and reflexes. Okay, now, wow, this next one's a big boy. Oh, wow. Kinda. But, next one's the last one. Alright, nice. We're almost done. And how many days do we have till... good time. Good, alright, good. Nice. Alright. Well, I'll end stream there. I'll catch you guys later.